Dreadnought is a large, heavily armored combat walker that are used by the Space Marines and sometimes by the Custodes as well. They are essentially combat suits that house a mortally wounded or severely disabled Space Marine who cannot survive without assistance but are still considered too valuable to let go. Being in one of these walkers allows the astartes to continue to serve his chapter and the Emperor long after his body is no more. These valuable warriors are interred within a cybernetic sarcophagus of the Dreadnought, which not only sustains their life but also gives them a chance to fight with even more firepower. These mechas are revered by their chapters and are only deployed in the most dire of circumstances, or on critical missions to turn the tide of the battle and strike fear into the hearts of the enemies. While stated to have their origins from the Age of Strife, they more likely than not have their real roots in the Dark Age of technology, but were later used sparsely by the techno-barbarians of Terra during the Age of Strife before the Unification Wars. Some of these ancient relics survived into the Great Crusade and the early years of the Horus Heresy, often recommissioned over the millennia by newer occupants after the old ones have ceased to live. The earliest classes of these dreadnoughts, other than the theorized proto-dreadnoughts, are the Furibendus pattern, which are slimmer in design, the Lucifer pattern, which have less armor and was eventually replaced by the Castraferrum, the Dreadnought pattern, which was in high demand during the Horus Heresy for its heavy fire support frame, and the Redemptor pattern Dreadnought, which are now treated as relics of a bygone age, and they are also the class of walkers used by the Custodes but remodified with their golden auromite material as armor. As of the current era, the most common classes of dreadnoughts are the old Castraferrum and the new Redemptor, with all their different patterns in between, and these are the two patterns that we shall discuss today. The Castraferrum pattern Dreadnought, particularly the Mark IV and Mark V types, stand as the most prevalent variant in use as of the current era. Distinguished by their shorter stature compared to the Redemptor, the Castraferrum was specifically designed to address a wide range of tactical challenges, excelling in direct assaults, boarding actions, tunnel warfare, and subterranean combat. Its low profile grants it exceptional versatility in these roles, measuring at 3.7 meters or 12 feet tall, 3.4 meters or 11 feet wide, and weighing 12 tons, and are also capable of reaching a maximum speed of 10 kilometers per hour on roads, and half of that off-road. While slow, it does make up for with firepower. In contrast, the Redemptor Dreadnoughts represent a newer breed conceived during the Indomitus era to accommodate the taller Primaris Marines, while still being able to house a firstborn Marine as a pilot. Towering and more intricately designed than their predecessors, these Redemptors have been known to push their pilots to their limits, with some pilots succumbing to the machine's overwhelming power, and their life forces drained to nothing but blackened remnants. These imposing walkers stand approximately 5 meters or 16.5 feet tall, and therefore they would measure 4 meters or 13 feet wide and weighing over 20 tons, and they are capable of greater speeds than the Castraferrum. So these dreadnoughts are bipedal walkers, with both having a similar basic layout, which includes a large torso that is heavily armored to the fore. They both also have 2 massive legs, while for the Castraferrum these legs are double jointed. For the Redemptor they possess 3 joints. The sarcophagus of both these have a similar design, only differing in minor areas, more notable with the position of the visor slit and the Redemptor having a larger size one. They also have 2 slots for either mechanical arms or different weapons that can be integrated depending upon the mission requirements. The most notable aspect of these combat walkers is their heavy armor, which is essentially their identity, heavy mech armors. The Castraferrum has an overall armor thickness of 75mm of adamantium and ceramite plating, and the walker's muscles are formed from electrofiber bundles and magna coils. The armor thickness would be similar for the Redemptor, it's just that it is taller and broader than the older version. So the primary reason for the continued prevalence of the Castraferrum over the older Redemptor and other variants lies in its use of a more familiar and adaptable technology. Unlike the Redemptor pattern, which relies on adamantic arc reactors, which are miniaturized plasma reactors based on nuclear fusion, the Castraferrum is equipped with a more conventional thermic reactor, which can be produced more readily and in larger quantities, and is also easier to maintain. These thermic reactors are more like conventional combustion engines, but with a longer lasting and more efficient fuel source. These reactors are essentially the same as the Rhino's adaptable thermic combustor reactor. This might be the same in principle for the hyper-dense reactors of the Redemptor pattern, which might only be upgraded versions of the thermic reactors. So from these, power is generated, which explains the black smoke from the exhaust pipe situated at the back. The power transmission is then carried out by hydroplastics coupled with powered actuators. These operate the weapon systems and other minor facilities throughout the machine, and their limb movements are achieved by electrically motivated fiber bundles, which function very much like muscles, contracting and relaxing to drag the huge bulk forward, and that is how a dreadnought moves. Now, going to the torso, the place where the pilot is situated, we have the Dreadnought Sarcophagus, which is essentially a life support system that keeps the almost dead space marine alive for as long as possible. They are also forms of cryogenic stasis pods, or suspended animation technology in a way, since whenever the dreadnoughts are not needed, they are deactivated and put to sleep. The astartes inside of it would exist in a deathless slumber for thousands of years if needed, as is in the case of Beyond the Fell-Handed and quite a few venerable and relic dreadnoughts. So within these living tombs, the warrior would then be awakened and integrated with the machine spirit of the walker in times of crisis. It is now known widely that the Redemptor pattern is in a way a step down in technology from the small Castraferrums, because the pilots within them are treated more like dispensable machines rather than esteemed and venerated warriors. Several Redemptor Dreadnoughts that have seen prolonged combat have undergone sarcophagus replacements, as their original pilots were overwhelmed by the machine's immense power and with the occupant being turned to shriveled husk. And that is their main disadvantage, as there would be no long-living Redemptor pilots, and with that no wisdom for the chapter. So anyway, in the sarcophagus, a marine would need to be aware of his surroundings, otherwise he would be just a sitting armored duck in the battlefield. These dreadnoughts are therefore equipped with a multitude of sensors and camera lenses integrated into their chassis, providing the pilot with a comprehensive view of their surroundings. These sensory inputs are directly linked to the pilot's neuro-integration system, allowing for a seamless blend of visual data into a singular, coherent image within the pilot's mind. This advanced system enables the pilot to have a 360-degree view and switch between various modes like infrared and other spectrums, enhancing his situational awareness and the ability to detect potential threats, even those attempting to approach from behind. Additionally, the arms of the dreadnoughts are often equipped with sensors and lenses to serve as targeting equipment, ensuring precise and effective engagement of targets. Also, within every dreadnought, speakers would be integrated, allowing the entombed warrior to communicate with other space marines, with their synthesized voices crackling from the machine depths, creating an eerie experience for those conversing with them, like talking with a robot. This is all possible due to the presence of a unique piece of Imperial technology called the Mind Impulse Unit, which is a neural interface that connects a sentient brain to the equipment, enabling the user to control and monitor the system using only their thoughts. These are the same type of equipments that are seen in the Titans and some Skitarii. This MIU, or the Mind Impulse Unit, allows the user a greater intimacy with the weapons and the overall dreadnought workings. Additionally, as a side note, it is tradition for each dreadnought to bear a scroll inscribed with the name of the hero it houses inside of it. When a new warrior is interred, the dreadnought then takes on a new name in honor of its new pilot. The standard Castraferrum pattern Mark IV or Mark V dreadnought is armed with a long-range heavy weapon on its right arm and a massive close combat weapon on its left arm. The close combat weapon is typically a dreadnought power fist or a power claw, often with a storm bolter or a heavy flamer attached below the forearm. This configuration allows the dreadnought to engage both at range and in melee combat effectively. For range engagements, the standard Castraferrum dreadnought can be equipped with various weapons including assault cannons, multi-melters, twin-ling las cannons, autocannons, heavy bolters, heavy flamers, missile launchers, or plasma cannons. Additionally, it can be outfitted with extra armor plating, a searchlight, and smoke launchers, enhancing its survivability and versatility in the battlefield. The combination of all these weapons depend on the mission and pattern. Assault and ironclad patterns are armed with dual close-range weapons, while the Hellfire and Mortis patterns have a dual long-range weapons attached to each arm. The Siege has one arm fitted with a driller, while the Venerable has either a power fist or a power claw. The Redemptor Dreadnought, on the other hand, is a new pattern designed to fight alongside Primaris Space Marines. It features a choice of either a heavy onslaught Gatling cannon or a macro plasma incinerator on its right arm, offering devastating firepower and merciless onslaught. In its left arm is equipped with an advanced Dreadnought power fist that gives it the ability to engage in close combat with larger enemies and heavily armored walkers, granting it the strength to even crush the leg of a knight. The Brutalis Dreadnought, which is a variant, specializes in melee combat, and it is armed with double Brutalis talons, which is capable of tearing apart enemy tanks and infantry like cutting through butter. Then lastly we have the Redemptor Dreadnought variant, which serves as a formidable ranged weapons platform for the Primaris and is equipped with a ballistic missile launcher and twin-linked las cannons, which are both ideal for taking down heavily armored foes from longer ranges. And with that we come to the end of this Dreadnought topic. So if you like this video, then watch this other one as well, and if you want to browse for other Warhammer content, then check out our channel. So subscribe and like for support, and yeah, while you're at it, bang on that bell icon for notifications on new video uploads. Till the next time, take care, boys.